If you drive a luxury vehicle, chances are you know that iconic three-pointed star.
Oh, absolutely. It's everywhere.
But if you try to trace the company's corporate family tree, you hit a wall. Just immediate confusion.
Right. It's a corporate identity crisis wrapped up in a history lesson. We're talking about a company that's had, what, 4 distinct names?
4. Daimler-Benz, Daimler Chrysler, then Daimler AG, and now the Mercedes-Benz Group.
And trying to keep those straight is, well, it's a real challenge.
So our mission today is to cut through all that complexity. We've pulled together sources that detail the whole chronological breakdown, everything from the founding fathers to, spectacularly failed mergers.
And modern corruption settlements. You can't forget those.
Exactly. We want to understand the why behind these huge shifts. Because these name changes, they weren't just for PR.
Not at all. Every single one signals a massive strategic pivot, usually away from some kind of disaster. We want to show you exactly how this company has just reinvented itself over and over again.
Okay, let's start at the very beginning. How the company got its iconic name, Daimler-Benz AG.
So the foundation was laid back in 1926. It was a merger of two, absolute pioneers of the auto world.
Right. This was Carl Benz's company and Gottlieb Daimler's company.
Exactly. Carl Benz's Benz & C from 1883 and Daimler Motor and Gesellschaft, or DMG, founded in 1890 by Daimler and Wilhelm Maybach, a fusion of the guys who basically invented the car.
But the name Mercedes, that's the interesting part. Where did that actually come from? It wasn't from Benz or Daimler.
No, and that name is just pure strategic genius. Even back then, it honors Mercedes Jelinek.
The daughter of one of the directors.
The daughter of Emil Jelinek, a DMG director, yeah. But he was also a huge motorsports enthusiast. And in 1900, he made a deal for a new engine, but on one condition.
What was that?
It had to be named Daimler Mercedes. And that car, the Mercedes 35 HP, just dominated the racing circuits. It instantly became this symbol of prestige.
So the brand identity was literally forged in racing.
It was. And that brand equity was so powerful that when they merged in 1926, they built the whole corporate identity around that product name.
But that first version of the company, Daimler-Benz AG, its history runs right into one of the darkest chapters of the 20th century.
You have to talk about it. During World War II, Daimler-Benz was, it was deeply involved with the Nazi regime.
Their entire production was repurposed for the war effort.
Almost entirely. They were making engines for German aircraft, for tanks, submarines, even parts for rifles like the Mauser.
And their famous luxury cars became really the official vehicles of the regime.
Precisely. The Mercedes-Benz 770 was the car of choice for high-ranking officials. Hitler, Goering, Mussolini, they all drove them.
But the most chilling part came out after the war.
Yeah, the company later admitted it. They used over 60,000 concentration camp prisoners and forced laborers to keep their factories running. It's a history that's impossible to ignore.
And a history they spent decades trying to reconcile. So by the late 90s, they seemed ready for a huge, globally ambitious move.
And that ambition led to what they call the marriage of equals in 1998.
This is the Daimler-Chrysler era.
Yes. Daimler-Benz merged with the US-based Chrysler Corporation, which was the smallest of America's big 3 automakers at the time.
It was a massive deal.
Colossal.
Yeah.
US $38 billion. It was the largest cross-border deal in the world at that point.
And the CEO, Jürgen Trump, he sold it as this perfect partnership. But that phrase, merger of equals, it was controversial from day one, wasn't it?
Immediately contentious. Investors basically said, this isn't a merger, it's a takeover by Daimler. And that led to a huge class action lawsuit.
Which they had to settle.
They did, for US $300 million in 2003. But, beyond the legal cost, the real problem was that the businesses just didn't work together.
The cultures were just too different.
Fundamentally incompatible. You had the methodical, high-margin German engineering culture clashing with the fast-paced, volume-focused American one. The synergies just weren't there.
They tried a few things, right? Like platform sharing.
A few. The Chrysler Crossfire used the Mercedes SLK platform, for example. But those were exceptions. The management clash was so bad it eventually cost Schrempf, the architect of the whole thing, his job in 2005.
So the marriage failed, and the divorce was famously expensive.
Oh, yeah. By 2006, Chrysler was losing a fortune $1.5 billion. So in 2007, Daimler had to get out. They sold their majority stake to Cerberus Capital Management.
And this is the fact that always gets me. Daimler didn't just sell Chrysler.
No, they didn't.
They basically had to pay Cerberus to take it off their hands.
They absolutely did. Daimler paid them US $650 million to cover the liabilities. They were so desperate to escape that mass market nightmare that they paid the buyer.
Incredible. So Daimler Chrysler was dead, and the company renamed itself Daimler AG.
Right. And Chrysler, well, it filed for bankruptcy just 2 years later.
So as Daimler AG launches in 2007, they pivot hard away from the mass market and towards this global web of alliances.
This era, from 2007 to 2022, was all about globalization, especially into China.
They jumped in almost immediately.
Yep. In 2010, they formed a joint venture with BYD to produce luxury electric vehicles under the brand Denza.
And that BYD deal is so important. It wasn't just about selling cars in China.
No, it was an admission that China was becoming a crucial hub for developing future EV tech. They also bought a big stake in the state-owned BAI's group.
And at the same time, they formed another alliance in Europe with Renault, Nissan, Mitsubishi.
Which seems risky, right? After the Chrysler disaster.
Exactly. Why jump into another complex alliance so quickly?
The goal was different this time. It wasn't a cultural merger. It was strategic. Renault-Nissan had expertise in smaller engines and platforms that Daimler lacked, especially for its commercial vans.
So that's why you saw things like the Mercedes-Benz Citan van, which was basically a rebadged Renault Kangoo.
That's it. They were filling gaps without trying to absorb the whole company.
They also started calling themselves a mobility services provider, not just a car maker.
Yes, that was a huge identity shift. They started buying up or investing in startups like Car2Go, My Taxi.
And ride-sharing like Via and Turo.
Right. And maybe the biggest tell for their future plans was in 2015. They teamed up with BMW and Volkswagen to buy Nokia's HERE Digital Maps division.
For nearly 3 billion euros.
Yeah, and that wasn't about selling cars today. That was about controlling the crucial mapping data for tomorrow's automated driving.
This is also when the big pivot to electric vehicles becomes official.
Monumental. In 2019, they announced they were stopping internal combustion engine development to focus almost entirely on EVs.
And that's when the Mercedes EQ brand was born.
Exactly. And their research was getting incredible results, like that 100% recyclable compostable battery using graphene, no rare metals needed.
But operating on this global scale, it also came with huge regulatory problems.
For sure. The complexity created headaches. In 2020, they got hit with a massive $875 million fine in the U.S. for violating the Clean Air Act.
The emissions cheating claims.
Yes. And they ended up paying about $1.5 billion total to settle everything. It showed the risks of managing such a vast global company.
Which leads to the final big move, the one that created the fourth life of the company.
A final cut. Management decided that the heavy truck business was dragging down the valuation of the luxury car division.
So they spun it off.
In 2021, Daimler Truck became its own separate, publicly listed company.
And right after that, in February 2022, Daimler AG officially became the Mercedes-Benz Group AG.
And that name change was very deliberate. It was all about chasing a higher stock market valuation, positioning themselves as a pure-play, high-tech, electric luxury brand.
They are betting everything on that star.
They are. The focus now is strictly cars and vans, the core Mercedes-Benz, the high-performance Mercedes-AMG, and the ultra-luxury Mercedes-Maybach.
And that focus seems to be paying off. The 2023 sales data looks pretty strong.
It does. The strategy is working. Sales of the highest margin products are way up. Mercedes-Maybach jumped 19%, the G-Class was up 11%.
And the most important number?
The EV number. Fully electric passenger car sales rose by a massive 73%. They're successfully shifting perceptions.
Looking at who owns the company now, it's a direct reflection of that globalization phase.
It really is. It's diversified, but the big strategic players tell the story. The Chinese state-owned BAIC Group has nearly 10%, and another Chinese investor, Li Shufu, holds almost 10% too.
So close to a fifth of the company is held by Chinese manufacturers.
Right, making them critical partners. The Kuwait Investment Authority also has a big stake.
And that global ownership is reflected in their manufacturing. I want to talk about the North Charleston van plant for a second. It's such a great example of their strategy.
Oh, the chicken tax workaround. It's brilliant, really.
Explain that. The U.S. has a huge tariff on imported commercial vans.
A 25% tariff, yeah. So to get their Sprinter vans into the U.S. market without paying that tax, they used to have to do this bizarre maneuver.
This is where they would build the vans in Germany, then take them apart.
Essentially, yes. They'd build them, ship the parts over, and then reassemble them in a small U.S. facility. It was totally inefficient, but it was still cheaper than paying the 25% tariff.
So the big plant expansion in North Charleston in 2015 was just to stop doing that.
Exactly. They moved to full local manufacturing, build the whole van in South Carolina from scratch, and you legally avoid the tariff.
Yeah.
Just streamlines everything for the American market.
So the story of these 4 lives is, it's one of amazing reinvention, but also, it seems, recurring ethical problems.
That's a theme that runs through the whole timeline. If you go back to that Daimler-Chrysler era, you find that massive international bribery case that came to a head in 2010.
And the scale of it was just staggering. This wasn't just a couple of rogue employees.
Not even close. The investigation found Daimler had paid over $56 million in bribes in at least 22 different countries between 1998 and 2008.
And the methods were like something out of a spy movie.
Totally. Offshore bank accounts, shell companies, all of it. And the bribes themselves, I mean, they gave armored Mercedes vehicles to officials, but my favorite anecdote.
Let me guess. The one involving the dictator of Turkmenistan.
That's the one. They gifted him a golden box and 10,000 copies of his own manifesto, the Runama, translated into German. You just can't make this stuff up.
And the most damning part was the prosecutor's conclusion.
Yes. They stated explicitly that bribery was a long-standing practice at Daimler. It was just considered a standard business practice for them to get deals done.
Now, fast forward to today, and we see a different kind of issue emerging: domestic labor disputes.
Right. The focus shifts inward. In 2024, the United Auto Workers, the UAW, filed charges against Mercedes-Benz plants in Alabama and South Carolina.
And what were they accusing the company of?
Illegal retaliation against union organizing efforts.
Yeah.
Things like illegally disciplining workers, targeting pro-union employees for drug tests, and firing union supporters. It's the modern version of that same corporate challenge.
So when you look back at the whole thing, the entire story of the Mercedes-Benz Group is just defined by radical, often painful transformation.
Absolutely. From its founding through that conflicted WWII history, the spectacular failure of Daimler-Chrysler, and now this sharp pivot to high-tech electric luxury.
The sheer tenacity is remarkable. And this current strategy, the new name, spinning off the truck division, focusing only on high-margin products, it's all laser-focused on securing a higher valuation in a really tough market.
Which brings us to a final thought, something for you, the listener, to consider. The company's entire history is marked by this tension between incredible technological innovation like that recyclable battery and these recurring corporate compliance failures. So given the company's complex global ownership with those big stakes from Chinese manufacturers and the ongoing labor challenges right here in the US, how will the new Mercedes-Benz Group balance its ambition for market value with the rising demand for real corporate and ethical responsibility in the future?